Today is the 1st of November. Anyway, I'm heading back up to my room from after surgery. I had a abdominal tube put in for feeding. And, so anyway, everything went well. When you get ready, I'll move over. Is there a urinal in here anywhere?
I'm not sure.
No,
I know there's a bathroom right here. If you need to go.
Yeah, I do, badly.
Okay. Are you able to walk a little?
Oh, well, I can try, baby.
I can go ahead and let your nurse know that you need the bathroom, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If I didn't get it before, today's November the 1st, 2020. This is Sunday. Anyway, I went down to have a abdominal tube put in my stomach so I can feed myself for the cancers and the tumors pressing on my esophagus at the entrance of my stomach. So, one more surgery. I've had 3 back surgeries, 4 neck surgeries, abdominal surgery, and now this. And then the day before yesterday, they went down and did an endotracheal. But anyway, I shall return. That's my bed here at the hospital in my room. Currently in the restroom. I got so much fluid on me, it's unbelievable. You'd never think your body could hold so much. But anyway, super bunch of good people. Time now is 2:47 p.m. I'm trying to get this plastic off from my arm. I had to cover up my IV in order to take a shower. What is so embarrassing is the fact that when you like this, urine comes pouring out of you and you can't control it. And then you accidentally wet yourself, and it's so embarrassing. You know, it is all your manhood, it seems like it's right down the drain. But thank God I'm still alive. I can't complain. I had my stomach tube put in. It was approximately somewhere around 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, I guess. I'll kind of try to show you a little bit of before I get this other big bandage put back around me. But let's see, let me get my crosses out of the way there. And let's see here. But there's a tube going into my stomach. There's the little bit of the top there sticking out right there. So that's how I'm gonna have to feed myself. I'm in a lot of pain right now from it. It feels like your stomach's been tore out. But thank God that they got these things that they can do to support your life and keep you alive and keep you fed and all. But nevertheless, that don't stop that pain, you know. I wouldn't wish this on nobody. God knows I would not ever wish this on anybody. It's a terrible thing. You know, I've heard of cancer patients and people surviving it and things they've gone through. And of course, as being a fireman and a paramedic all the years I was, I saw a lot of it. And I know what I'm facing. And it's not good. But hey, I've had some good years. I've had a good life. And I have nothing to complain about. I'm going to tell a little story here real quick. And it's something that happened to me when I was 20 years old. And just kind of give you an idea, or let you know there is a God and there is a heaven. When I was 20, I used to scuba dive. I've been doing it for a number of years. And me and a friend of mine, or a friend and I rather, proper English, we took and we were down at Ichituckney in a cave. We'd go to all the springs around Florida and try to find fossils and stuff. And sure enough, we went down 185 foot back into the cavern, and we were 92 foot depth-wise. And I gotta get my breath here a minute. I'm hurting so bad. I'm trying to tell a story too, and I'm hurting, but keeps my mind off the pain a little bit. But anyway, I took and I started having trouble getting air. And I said, well, let me look at my watch, you know. I didn't think we'd been down there that long. And sure enough, I should have had plenty of air. So I motioned my buddy, and I said, we had a chalkboard, and I wrote on there that I was having trouble breathing. And of course, a sign that we do like this too. But anyway, we took and he told me, he said, look, he said, try to take and pull your reserve and see what happens. I pulled my reserve, and needless to say, it cut my air off immediately. Now, I looked back, and I can't even see no exit. I knew where the guide rope was, but I just took off, you know, because I couldn't get his mouthpiece clear. Back then, they didn't have Persian valves where you could just smash a button and clear it. You had to do it with what air you had left in your lungs. So I took off, and I knew I was going to die. I said, today I will die. And sure enough, I did die. I took and I relived different events through childhood. Coming on up, I took and last thing I said, God, I would give anything if I could tell my mother and father how much I love them and thank them for raising me the way they raised me, because they raised me to have manners. They raised me to have respect. And that's always stuck to my mind up to this day. It's very, very important that you be truthful. And the one thing that I want on my tombstone is this man was a man of his word. And I can honestly, God, say I've lived by that. I've done my wrongs, and all of us have. We all commit sins. But God knows that you're trying, and you're trying hard. You're trying to beat that devil. He'll look out for you. So anyway, about the time after that, I was crossing over. Most beautifulest light I've ever seen in my life. Never seen anything like it. It was like I was going through this big gate. And when I got in, there's the peace, the serenity, the harmony, the people, everybody. It's just, you just knew there was no hatred, there was no nothing, just peace and happiness. And you know what? I really was at ease. I was at peace, and I didn't even want to come back then. But some reason God kept me, and maybe it was to tell this story. I've told it to a lot of people, and I'm sure I've saved some souls out there, I'm sure. But anyway, all of a sudden I sat up, and I was in Gainesville Hospital. They done pronounced me dead. And poor old lady. She was coming to cover me up, and I know I could see the blood just draining down from her face, and she turned white. I thought she was going to faint when she saw me set up. I can't much blame her. You know, a dead person set up, hey, that's not normal. We got a zombie here. But anyway, at least I got to laugh a little bit here. Even with this pain, I get to laugh a little bit. I'm sorry I'm kind of stuttering around, but it's just that pain that's hitting me. It's getting my attention. But anyway, when I set up, she went yelling and called the doctors, and they all come back there running and went checking me out and asked me how I felt and stuff like that. I said, I feel fine. I said, what's the problem? I said, what am I doing here? And I really, at the time, I was kind of, my mind was foggy, like I didn't really know what was going on. And anyway, they told me, they said, we pronounce you dead. And I said, well, there's a God up above, I can tell you that. And I said, I know there's a heaven up above because I just saw it. And they looked at me kind of funny, you know. And back then, nobody talked about stuff like that, you know. But nevertheless, I just told them the truth. And so it was about approximately 3 hours later, I actually got to walk out of there. And you know what? I was underwater, they figure a good 12 to 15 minutes, easy. Underwater, and after 4 minutes, you're brain dead. But I made it through it. And I went to college, became a fireman. I got my commercial pilot's license. I do professional photography right up to this day. If I could get out there with a camera right now, I'd be out there with it. I love doing photography. But I've done a lot of traveling, and I've seen a lot in the last few years. Lisa, the one I was married to for 25 years, she was a terrific lady. I just can't even speak enough for her. She'd tell you what was on her mind. She'd let you know in a minute, though. She was a feisty one. She was a Baker County gal, and she had full Cherokee in her. But, you know, getting away from the story there and talking about her, you know, the one nice thing that I really loved about our relationship was that if we got angry or mad or something or upset, I never cussed that woman. Never cussed her. She never cussed me. I dare not call her no names. And I just didn't believe in it, you know. But I was in martial arts also. I got up to my 2nd degree black belt. And I studied Zen. And in studying Zen, you learn to control your temper and your mind, and you can control a lot of things. I could even control my blood pressure. I could control my heartbeat. There's a lot of things you can do. That mind up there is a wonderful thing. God gave us something that we put it to use and do it the right way. It's unbelievable the things that you can accomplish and do. My mother and father didn't even think I was ever going to graduate. I was so mean. I don't know how they put up with me. But anyway, they stuck beside me and they raised me. And that's the main thing. They got me through it. Hard times, good times, whatever. But they got me through it. But anyway, going back, let me think here a minute. Also, I had a Demerol shot just a few minutes ago, so that's affected my way of thinking too, so just pardon me. I don't mean to be stuttering, but I know it's that shot that's affected me some. But anyway, I accomplished everything that I ever really set out to do. I got my Bachelor of Fire Science degree. I got my EMT and my paramedics, and I was a fireman. That's the main thing I wanted. The first thing I really wanted to do was be and I had my chance, was to play baseball. And I had a chance. I had a chance for a scholarship, matter of fact. And I should have done it. I should have took advantage of it, but I didn't. I started out in little leagues. But anyway, coming on up, next thing I said, well, I'd love to be a fireman or a policeman, either one. But fireman was really more in me than anything. But I took both civil service tests, and I died list after list after list. Seems like I could never take and catch it at that right time, And so anyway, I took and turned around, and finally I had the chance to get on as a fireman. And Bruce Kodak, a good friend of mine, lived next door to me. His daddy was a chief. And I heard about this program that the city was doing. It was called PSP, Public Service Program. And it would enable you to take and be able to get on as a fireman. And you go through the academy and do everything a normal fireman would do. And you would be on for your first year, and you did good, and you passed everything, then you had a permanent job. And so that's what I did. I went on in 1979, August the 15th. But we had to run 1.5 miles in 12 minutes or less. And boy, I tell you what, I hated to run. I hate to run worse than anything in the world. I just didn't like running. Never did like running. But I did, nevertheless. And so first time around, I missed the thing by, I think it was 5 seconds or something. Anyway, they wouldn't give me that 5 seconds. And I was so disappointed. I said, oh my gosh, I lost by 5 seconds. 5 seconds is going to cost me my future and my job that I really like to have. But the lieutenant, he liked me. He took a liking to me out there. And Bruce, of course, he could run. He could go. So Bruce told me, he said, I'll tell you what, Larry. And I asked the lieutenant, I said, when I got to do this again? Because he told me, he said, I'm going to give you one more chance. He said, I said, can I come back next week and run it? He said, no, you got to run it today. I said, I got to do 1.5 miles again? He said, that's the only way, Larry. He said, come on, you can do it. Well, Bruce, he said, look, Larry, he said, you'll just stay with me. He said, I'll get you through it. And sure enough, we're running around the track, and anyway, I'm on the last lap, and I'm about to fall out, boy. I'm huffing and puffing because I smoked. I was smoking cigarettes back then. That's the worst thing you can do. Don't ever smoke. God knows, don't ever smoke. But anyway, Bruce would turn around and run backwards while I'm trying to run forward just to catch up with him. But he kept yelling at me, come on, Larry, come on. You can make it. And sure enough, I made it. In fact, I had, I think, 10 seconds to spare. So it worked out good. Then, of course, after it got to the academy, it got to the point where you run 1.5 miles every day. But yeah, I really enjoyed the fire department. I loved it. It meant a lot to me. To get out there and to save a life or save someone's home meant more to me than anything in the world. But anyway, I'm hurting real bad right now. I'm going to take and break off from here right now, and I'll continue on later on. But I'm going to try to do this documentary all the way through to the end. And maybe it'll help somebody out there. I hope to God it does. Maybe it'll save some souls. Maybe it'll save some people from smoking. And mine, they think come from asbestos or something I breathed when I was with the fire department. I'm waiting on some other test results to come back. But anyway, but let me go, and I'll continue on later on. Talk to y'all later. God bless everybody. Bye. This is Jacob, my grandson. He come to see me today, but unfortunately, I've been pretty well out of it, and there's been in so much pain. This is my grandson. This is Jacob. He come to see me. There's Mom and them. There he is, right there.
Hello.
And he's a good-looking boy. I tell you, I'm proud of him. He's a good boy, And but I didn't want to show y'all him. Okay, everyone, he's got to hurry because his mama's waiting on him. You know how she is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk to you in just a little bit here. All right, bye. Today's date is the 3rd of November. I'm continuing on through the 2nd. I pretty well slept most of the day after they did the tube in my stomach for feeding, the feeding tube. But anyway, I can show you what it looks like now, where before it was bandaged up. But this is some of the fun that you go through when you get to the point where you can't eat or anything. Let me show you here. That's the tube there. Goes right into the stomach. And you just take the end here, and you can pour the liquid protein into your system. It's just like being fed, you know. So that's what it's all about. But bear with me just a minute and I'll be right back with you. Let's see, I got about 8 to 11. November the 3rd. I'm sitting here, been watching the election here, seeing which way it's going to go. That'll be interesting. It makes you wonder sometimes who's the right one, who's the wrong one, whatever, but I feel pretty secure about who I would have voted for. Unfortunately, I didn't even get a chance to vote because of being in the hospital. I wish I could have. But I'll be thankful that at least I'm still alive. A lot of pain. That's the one thing about cancer. You're going to be in some pain. It's just, no matter what you do, about time you get over one thing, then something else coming into play. You know, it's just like this feeding tube. I've had chest tubes, I've had endotracheal tubes, I've had feeding tube. Chest tube is no fun. Chest tube, very painful. They say they sedate you, but they sedated me. I didn't feel the sedation at all. I know I felt that tube when it went in, that needle when it went into my lung. So that's one of the things you got to look forward to too. Have a chest tube put in, do biopsies, and that's just part of it, unfortunately. Much as I hate to say so, but I'm trying to cover everything I'm really going through, from the good times to the bad times. Right now, I'm on the downwind leg side of this, the bad times. But I'm hoping and praying to God that He'll lift me up and give me some more good times. That's all I can do is just keep my faith in God. And that's one thing I cannot stress hard enough for you. Do not give up on God. He'll be there for you. You might not think He will be, but He will be. It's just like me in the predicament I'm in right now. But see, He's already saved my life 3 other times. Plus, He showed me He's a healing God. And I'm not trying to preach religion to anyone out there. I'm just stating facts. I'll tell you a fact about my son, and this was all documented. But I like telling these stories because it might help somebody out there, and it shows that there is a God, and you can depend on Him when you need Him. But give you an idea, my son, when he was born, he didn't have a soft spot at all. And so I turned around and took him back for his first month checkup, and sure enough, the doctor examined him and told me, hey, Mr. Mrs. Gwaltney, your son doesn't have a soft spot. I'm going to call Dr. Chandler over at Hope Haven Hospital and see if we can get an appointment for him to go over there and see him. So sure enough, we got an appointment. We went that day, had MRIs done, and sure enough, there was no soft spot. There was no nothing. His whole head was closed off. Your soft spot is what enables you for your brain to grow and breathe. Without that, of course, you die. And so Dr. Chandler, he told us, he said, look, he said, cannot stress this enough, but when he gets 3.5 months old, he's got to have surgery. So anyway, come 3.5 months, and it was right after Easter. Easter fell on a Sunday. And it was right after that. A gentleman come down. I always called him Brother Thomas. I took a lot of time with his son. His son was deaf. I took a lot of time with him. And I even helped Brother Thomas build an evangelist trailer so he could preach. But the fun we had doing that. We got attacked by bees and everything else. If the devil ever stepped forward, he stepped forward on that. It's amazing. But anyway, getting back to the story here. Brother Thomas asked me, after we went over several different scripts in the Bible and everything, he asked me, he said, Larry, he said, do you believe that God can heal? I said, yes, sir, I do. And he said, would you mind bringing your son with me? I said, no, sir, I don't mind at all. I went inside and told my wife, I said, get Keith. And I said, I don't have no idea where we're going, but I said, just trust me. So we left, and we went from the north side of Jacksonville to the west side of Jacksonville. And it was like the whole time he was being led, He'd start to turn off, and then he'd change his mind and get back, keep on the expressway. And finally we ended up off of Ramona Boulevard. It was right there in west side, near Marietta Forest. A little Church of God there. Went inside there, and the minute we stepped inside, you could feel the presence of God. You knew there was a spirit there. And he asked the pastor, he said, sir, he said, this baby doesn't have a soft spot. Would you mind taking and praying for him, anointing him in oil, and bring all the elders of the church forth and pray for him? No problem. So we all joined hands, and after I handed the baby to the pastor took and anointed him in oil, and turned around, and I don't know how long we've been praying. We could have been a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, who knows. But something told me to look. It was like God spoke to me, look. And I looked at my son's head, and I could see it just pulsating. Took him back to Hope Haven Hospital. Had MRIs done again. And sure enough, God had given him a soft spot. So there is a healing God. merciful God, a healing God. And always remember that. And that is the truth. But I wanted to share that with you. Like I say, I'm not trying to preach religion by no means. I'm just sharing what I've been through and things that I experienced. It's a journey, and I'm on that journey right now. I'm on the end leg of that journey right now. And I'm going to try to keep y'all as much up to date as I can on how I do, what I go through and stuff. I know I got some rough times ahead, but I still, in all, I got God with me. And it's up to Him. You know, you probably asking yourself, well, your God's such a healing God, why isn't He healing you? Well, He's done kept me alive 3 other times, so, you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If for some reason it's my time, then it's my time. We're all going to die one day or another. And but the nice thing about it, I'm not scared of dying. I kind of look forward to it in a lot of ways, other than missing my family. I don't, that's the hardest thing, is thinking about being away from your family. You have to leave your loved ones behind and they suffer. And I don't want to see my loved ones suffer when I die. I want them to be happy. Be happy the fact that I'm no longer suffering. Be happy that knowing that I'm in heaven, and one day they'll see me again. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it off at that right now. It's I got about 2 minutes after 11 p.m. and we'll continue on a little later, see what we can come up with. God bless everyone.